I woke up one morning wondering what my life was destined for. I can remember looking out the window for my dad on Christmas when I was 5, and he never came. I wouldn't meet him for almost 35 years later. Did that sad moment alter my life? Did it change my destiny? Did it make me lose faith in people that were supposed to be there for me? Would my life be on pause until I filled that empty void that was inside me every time I went to a friend's house and saw how they interacted with their dad? What I would learn later in life would shock me to my core. Did your dreams die before they even began? Is that inner child still holding on to the pain of your childhood, pain of a missing parent, abusive parent, foster care, group homes? Did your life take a wrong turn when you were younger and your entire life has been on pause ever since? You may have grown up with nobody investing in you, pouring into you, comforting you, and because these things didn't happen, you made bad decisions that cost you your self-worth, your trust in people, and pride. You're angry and you don't know why. You're always sad and you don't know why. You can't trust anybody and you don't know why. Well, let me tell you why. Your life has been on pause and it's time to hit the play button. No more rewinding, no more pausing. Hit play and let's fast forward to what the Most High has for you and has been waiting to give you all this time. I read a quote that said, every single event in your life, especially the difficult lessons, has made you smarter, stronger, and wiser than you were yesterday. Be thankful. You took some hits, went through some trials. But what are you going to do now? I carried drugs for a cousin at 11 years old and learned the street life early. Since my mama had chronic asthma and was always in the hospital, I used to wake up to her gasping for air, and I would jump out of my bed and run next door to her room, connect her asthma machine, pour it in the solution, turn it on, then call 911. Because of that, a light sleeper. I also became very angry because I was constantly shipped around with different family members. I didn't have my dad, and now my mom's is in the hospital every week. I began to act out. I hung around the wrong crowd, fought with teachers, got into numerous fights, and at the age of 17 was sent to DFY for a year for possession and sale of cocaine. My life was on pause. I was considered unstable and there was no telling what I would do once I was mad. And even though I was incarcerated, I knew something was missing. Something wasn't right. And I couldn't feel it with the love of a girlfriend. I couldn't feel it with the love of a family member. I couldn't feel it with the love of my friends on the streets. And so I began to search for what was missing. I tried marijuana, but that only covered it up for a little while. I tried alcohol, but it only made me angrier. I had no direction and no desire to be told what to do by anybody who had gone through what I did. It felt like I was going crazy. I went back into doing what I was used to doing once I was released, and I felt I fit in because I was a drug dealer amongst drug dealers in a school that was full of drug dealers. I was at every party, threw a few myself, but deep down inside I knew something wasn't happy. I knew I wasn't happy. I knew something wasn't right. I was going along with the motions, but found myself at the beach a lot, sitting on the rocks, smoking a joint and drinking, wondering what my life was becoming. I gained the name G.I. Joe because one moment you would see me and the next you wouldn't. I would disappear mid-conversation and go on my own little journey. I ended up marrying a girl at age 18 that was just like me. We did the same things, had the same attitude, and had similar things happen to us. But I didn't know how to be a husband. I barely knew how to be a child. Having to grow up before my time, I never saw a fully functional marriage that could be my example. So how was I supposed to pull this off? I was 18, she was 17, and we had a baby girl on the way. The only thing I knew was that my daughter would always have me in her life. She would never have to grow up without daddy being there. She would never look out the window for me and feel that I'm not coming. So I tried to stop selling drugs. But it was all I knew. I tried to go back to school, but I wasn't focused enough. I tried working at a job, but I hated it. So I went back to the streets. It was what I knew, what I was comfortable with, until people tried to kill us. One of my friends shot up in his car, another on the block, another while out of town, and then I was chased from Brooklyn to Queens and almost shot in a shootout crossfire. One of my boys said, "Yeah, if you have to leave, leave, because I don't want to go to any more funerals." It was at that moment, I thought about all the close calls, all the times in my life I left right before a shootout, before stick-up kids came around, before a police raid. Something or somebody was watching over me. There was something inside of me that needed to come out or be birthed in a season that I wasn't aware of. My life was still on pause, but the wheel was slowly moving now as I considered changing. There's a scripture that says, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them. For the Most High, your Elohim, goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you." See, I knew who the Father was. I knew of his Son, since I had family members in different religions. One aunt was a Jew, one uncle Muslim, another aunt Jehovah's Witness, grandmother Baptist. I took a little from each of them and drew my own conclusions. Once I was old enough to, I knew I had to call on the Son when in trouble, and for the most part it worked when I did, but once I was out of trouble, I put him back in my book bag until I needed him again. I moved to Syracuse, New York, and on the Greyhound ride up, I was listening to DMX. I'm slipping, falling, can't get up. Those words resonated in my spirit, not knowing that my future, or not knowing what my future would hold. Caroline Myers said, "Always go with the choice that scares you the most, because that's the one that is going to help you grow." I took my daughter with me. She was the one thing that kept me sane, and I wanted more out of life for her. Everything that happened to me up to that point, I couldn't take it personal. It was life, and I needed to keep pressing. Les Brown said, "When things go wrong, don't go with them." But that's exactly what I did. I took me with me. I applied for jobs and nobody called me back, so I became discouraged and depressed. With my daughter laying next to me, I said, "Let me try again." I cut off my hair, got a new outfit, and applied for the same jobs that turned me down. What do you know? The phone started ringing. I got a job, but that old mentality was still lingering. The enemy was whispering in my ear, find out where they sell drugs at, hook up with a girl in the area, make friends, and find a way to start hustling again. I did just that, and quickly, what I left behind had showed up again. I was making progress. I was getting a paycheck. I had somewhat a fresh start, but I let my old ways creep in and put my life back on pause. You can't let what was in your past affect your future. If the door is open for you to change, then change. Keep moving forward. Don't look back, and don't listen to that voice if it's telling you something wrong, if it's telling you what it's telling you will cause your life to go back on pause. Think of the consequences. Think of those who will be affected by your actions. Those who love you, those who are praying for you, those who believe in you. There's a scripture that says, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland." I was supposed to have been making a way for my family. Instead, I went back to my old ways and put my family in danger. I put my daughter in danger. I put my mom in danger. The decisions we make are so important, as it affects so many others. I knew I needed to reinvest myself. I just didn't know how. How many of you have had that same feeling? You know something needs to change. You know you can't go on living like this, but you feel lost. You feel like you won't be accepted. You feel like you will be laughed at. You feel like you're not smart enough. You feel like you can't do it. When people ask how you're doing, you just say okay, because you either believe they don't really care or you don't care to have them in your business. You question everything people say to you, and therefore don't react as quickly as you should. This is the part where you find out what you're made of and who you are. There are gifts in you. You have talents buried deep inside you that need to come out. There's a scripture that says every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of the heavenly lights, who does not change like shifting shadows. So whatever gift is inside you that hasn't been used yet is good. You just have to get off pause long enough to discover it. I read a quote by the Quiet Rabbit that said, if it's sucking the life out of you, stop giving it attention. If it's a job, you need to quit. If it's a person, cut them off. If it's an activity, by all means stop. Stop letting anything buy you or take you by the wheel. You're going to be okay. Time will pass. Get out of there and make your dreams a reality. You don't deserve anxiety. You're not operating at your best when someone or something else is in control. Take over, get some good vibes cranking, and just be happy in your own skin. Love your life, delete the rest. In other words, take ownership, challenge yourself, and find out what's really in you. Jeremiah 29:11 says, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Most High. Plans to prosper you and not harm you. Plans to give you a hope in a future. I wasn't ready to let go of anything since I felt it was what sustained me up to that point. And I not only lost my wife, but we had another daughter. And I had 2 other kids by another woman, and eventually lost my freedom. I was sinking fast and trying to hold my head up. But every day was harder and harder. I went to school to be a home health aide. Passed all the tests, and when it was time to graduate, I couldn't because you had to get a sheriff report in order to receive your certificate. I just happened to be on the run from probation in New York and had been running for about 5 years. So I was back at square one again. At that point, I decided I was tired of the way my life was turning out. So I planned to turn myself in the following Monday. There comes a time in your life when you have a desire to change, when you have a desire to want more. I was beginning to get an understanding. I was becoming tired. I needed to confront the problems in my life head on and defeat them. You see, if you want to change your circumstances, you must first start thinking differently. In order to develop yourself, you must weed out destructive behavior and create your get-up. You must re-educate yourself, change your thought pattern, and come away from those who don't have passion in their life to do the right thing. Romans 12:1-2 says, therefore I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of Yah's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to Yah. This is your true and proper worship. Do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what Yah's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. I told myself I would stay in the house all weekend and turn myself in on Monday. I was stressed out about it, so I was drinking a lot. My friends were calling me to come hang out, and I would say no, I'm good. But by Friday night, I was ready. Before I left out, I said, Father, if you're really there, take me out this life I'm living. I went to the area where we hung out at, got drunk and high on marijuana, and decided to rob drug houses. And by the time we hit the second one, the police was on my behind. I jumped out a window, ran to the pitch black yard, and couldn't get over the gate. There was police everywhere, and I just jumped to the ground. I just dropped to the ground so they wouldn't shoot me. Out of everybody that was with me, I was the only one that was caught. Everything that I had drunk and smoked felt like it was gone. The police were cheering, saying we finally got him. And when they closed the cell behind me, I heard the father say, now I have a chance to talk to you. My life was really on pause now. I was facing 8.5 to 15 years in prison. I was ready to talk to the father now. I said, if you get me out of this, I'll serve you for the rest of my life. I went to court, and the judge said, I should bury you under the jail, but I'm going to be lenient on you. I'm going to give you 3.5 years with 5 on the back. Get out in 3 years for good behavior. I was in the unfamiliar, and that sounded good to me. I thought it's time to invest in myself. It's time to find out who I really am. Something had been missing from my childhood that carried on into my adulthood. I was missing a father, a dad, and now had the opportunity to build a relationship with the Father, the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. I began to read every book I can get my hands on and yield myself to the power of Yah. I began to visualize what I was praying for, and the Father began to use me, just like He used Joseph in the Bible while in prison. I came to the realization that it was Him that had been with me the entire time. When someone in a black car tried to run me over, He was with me. When I was shot at, He was with me. When I was in a car accident, He was with me. When I thought nobody cared, He was with me. When I was depressed and drinking myself into a stupor, He was with me. When I was beat half to death with a crowbar and a gun, He was with me. It was Him who I was searching for the entire time. He who is set free is free indeed. I had paused my life and kept it on pause for over 20 years. I didn't know who I was or what I was capable of, but I was coming off pause. I had a hunger inside me, a hunger to develop my mind, the hunger to discover what I could be, the hunger to be a better father for my kids, the hunger to be an example for others. I obtained my GED while in there. 2 certificates at Genesee Community College for early British literature and analytical geometry. I also became certified in computer operations and business management. I mentored other inmates and helped them to change their life. I then developed a dream to share the big stage with great speakers. I listened to a lot of T.D. Jakes and was inspired by him. My best friend Prodigal and I used to rap at different events while in prison and had a dream to record an album and travel the states, sharing our message of hope and redemption. All things are possible to him that believe, right? Prodigal was released before me and picked me up when I was released. The Father opened the door for us to record our first album, Sons of Thunder, for free. Then we were able to sell CDs at a TDJ's conference when he came to Syracuse. We had a thirst. We was hungry. The newspapers called Winterbus as we did open mics, group homes, and parades. And we ended up on the cover of newspapers from upstate New York to New York City. We did radio and TV interviews and won two music awards. Our life was off pause and in overdrive. We now had dreams. We had purpose. We had courage. We had desire. We had commitment. We had fulfillment. The kingdom was inside of us the entire time. We just didn't know how to unlock it. 2 Corinthians 4:16-18 reads, "Therefore we do not lose heart. Though outwardly we are wasting away, yet inwardly we are being renewed day by day. For our light and monetary troubles are achieving for us eternal glory that far outweighs them all." So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen. Since what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal. Get hungry enough to get off pause. Get hungry enough to want change. Get hungry enough to put in the work. Get hungry enough to tell yourself it's worth the sacrifice. This is your life, and nobody can live it for you but you. You want to make more money? Get off pause. You want to be a better person? Get off pause. You want to be a better parent? Get off pause. Forgive those that hurt you in your past so that you can move on with your future. There are people depending on you, looking up to you, watching you, and awaiting the outcome so they can follow your blueprint. You are the roadmap for many in your life. And if you don't get off pause, they may make the same mistakes you made. Prodigal and I were two people who lost everything, got knocked down, but decided to get back up. And though it may seem easy for some, it's hard for most. You have to make the conscious decision to change, to want better, and to want a new life that creates open doors for the ones you love. Make new friendships, change your atmosphere. You can't go somewhere new with people holding you back to stay where you are. You need progress, and the only way you'll receive it is to be determined to not quit. Don't let others convince you that you're not worth it, that you'll never make it, that you're stupid, that you're worthless, that it's too late for you. It's not too late for you. You're not inadequate, you're not inferior, you're not dumb, you're not less than a human, you're not weak, you're not gullible, you're an overcomer, you're adored, you're amazing, you're confident, you're creative, you're jubilant, you're passionate, you're powerful, and have unlimited potential. You just need to tap into it. Get focused, get refreshed, get rebooted, and let the grace of the Most High guide you to victory. Tell yourself, I am not my mistakes. I am successful. I choose to love myself. I choose faith over fear. I matter. I believe in me. Speak words of life into yourself and let the negative ones go. Practice this for 90 days and it will become weaved into your thought process. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. So what you speak will begin to frame your life. When you breathe, inhale positivity and exhale negativity. Approach life with a new outlook. Be bold about your transformation until you get to where you need to go. Be creative. Write down your goals. Write down your ideas. And in doing this, you will come up with a solution for your questions. What's inside you will be the answer you need to catapult you to the next level. There will be some that understand you and some that think you're crazy because they haven't tapped into the power of self-awareness. Debbie Ford said, self-awareness is the ability to take an honest look at your life without attachment to it being right or wrong. Mae West said, you only live once, but if you do it right, once is enough. If you still have breath in you, if you still have breath in your lungs, your contract isn't up yet, and you still have the opportunity to fulfill your mission in life. Pay no attention to those who try to put out your fire because they can't light their own. Learn to love yourself despite your past. Don't let being a victim stop you from being a victor. It's time to rewrite your story, and in the end, you win. I said you win. I said you win. You went through the worst. Now it's time to push forward to your best. You have your best life ahead of you. Time to live it. Get off pause. Get off pause. It's time to reinvent yourself. It's time to reinvent yourself. It's time to reinvent yourself. Father, forgive us for our sins. Wake up your people, Israel. Help us remember who we are and help us to return home to our land.
Thought we had the time, had the lifestyle, you'll never get over.
Yeah, this one's for you,
Didn't say goodbye,
Israel.
frozen in time, getting colder.
Get it.
One last word,
One more last word,
one last moment.
one more last moment.
Ask you why
I gotta talk to you.
left me here behind.
We got the last fight. I know I am the chosen Israelite with the blood of kings. Daniel dreams got me on iron fences with golden wings. Never thought I'd see the day coming. The Antichrist is risen. Ishmael told me his vision. He wanted us to listen. Fled the land. Temple was buried upon a ball of fire. No desire. Army destroyed. The Romans fed the fire. Negro land. Kingdom of Judah. We headed down to Ghana. Met the man. Put on the collar. They beat our woman harder. Drowned at sea. registered slave. They changed my name to Toby. Nobody hold me, I'm lonely. I fight the devil slowly. Hang me on the tree with my brother. Jerusalem is calling. Every crack tatted my back until the blood was pouring. Bust me in the head with a stone. I bet I see the kingdom looking at my heavenly Father. You claimed I never seen him, but I'm just a child of a hero that can't just take a stand. I'ma pray the fire of Yah come and engulf the land.
All we had the time, had a lifestyle, never get older. Didn't say goodbye, now I'm frozen in time, getting colder.
One more last word, one more last moment. I gotta talk to you. I'm tired of looking at the killing of my people. Ignorance said we equal. Constitution really evil. Spilled the blood of a Hebrew. We are beaten by the coppers, sodomized by the paupers. In the school they wanna drop us, cause we never let them stop us. So we reaching for our freedom. No more sermons, no more altar calls. We're searching in the Torah. Got to find the word. Apostle Paul ran into Messiah, came to die and gave his life for real. He opened up the meaning, showed the truth that we are Israel. Now we on the final journey. Hamashiach coming soon. Remembering the word he said, sitting in the upper room, all of us will be betrayed, dying for the risen king, the one that gave us back our land. And so we pray until the dream manifests into our life. Hidden crown that's made of gold, walking in Jerusalem, the very dirt we came to hold, knowing that our time is soon, 400 years is at the door. Whoever did my family wrong is gonna have to face the sword.
Now Yeshua, I've sent my messengers to witness these to you in the assemblies. I am the root and the offspring of David, the bright and morning star.
Father, forgive us for our sins. Wake up your people, Israel. Help us remember who we are, and help us to return home to our land. Yeah, this one's for you, Israel. Get it. One more last word, one more last moment. I gotta talk to you. This is the last fight. I know I am the chosen Israelite with the blood of kings. Daniel dreams got me on iron fences with golden wings. Never thought I'd see the day coming. The Antichrist is risen. Ishmael told me his vision. He wanted us to listen. Fed the land. Temple was buried upon a ball of fire. No desire. Army destroyed. The Romans fed the fire. Negro land. Kingdom of Judah. We headed down to Ghana. Met the man. Put on the collar. They beat our woman harder. Drowned at sea. Registered slave. They changed my name to Toby. Nobody hold me, I'm lonely. I fight the devil slowly. Hang me on the tree with my brother. Jerusalem is calling. Every crack tatted my back until the blood was pouring. Bust me in the head with a stone. I bet I see the kingdom looking at my heavenly Father. You claimed I never seen him, but I'm just a child of a hero that can't just take a stand. I'ma pray the fire of Yah come and engulf the land. One more last word, one more last moment. I gotta talk to you. I'm tired of looking at the killing of my people. Ignorance said we equal. Constitution really evil. Spilled the blood of a Hebrew. We are beaten by the coppers, sodomized by the paupers. In the school they wanna drop us, cause we never let them stop us. So we're reaching for our freedom. No more sermons, no more